we're going to go ahead and get started with the webinar. We're pretty much all full, so I'm guessing everybody who wants to be here is here, and we're not really going to have a lot of room for additional people anyway. So, again, this, for those of you who just joined in the last minute or two, this is a pre-launch or a preview or a sneak peek of the new LeadFerret site that we will be launching in the next week or so. You'll not only be able to see the new site today, but after the webinar you'll actually be able to start to utilize the new site as sort of a early screening. We do appreciate any and all feedback that you can give us. Again, what we're going to cover is just some of the new features, including the improved search panel, saved searches, sharing search results, managing your downloads, and a whole lot more. And of course, one of the first things you'll notice is just a completely new look of the site. By the way, just to reiterate a point that I made a few minutes ago, if you have any questions or you're having difficulty hearing or seeing the presentation or anything like that, just go ahead and submit through the chat or questions function. We do have staff standing by to address those real time during the presentation as well as after the presentation. Okay. Also, for joining the webinar today, we're offering anybody who decides to try out LeadFerret Premium double points for the first month. If you're already a premium user, which I know many of you are, and you attend today's webinar and you give us some feedback on the new site, we'll give you double points for your next month as well. I'll cover that again more at the end of the webinar, but without further ado, let's go ahead and get started with the presentation itself. So this is the new look of the site and the new search panel. Hopefully a lot of you excited to see it, and hopefully you'll like what you see. So this is a new search panel. Those of you who are familiar with the old search panel, all of the same search tools are there. We didn't take anything away, but we did try to organize things a little bit better. You've still got the title search, search by name, all the departments, better organized, more visible, social media links, search by different company, firmographic information like company size, industry, address, things like that. We've tried to make the tools a little more user-friendly. To give an example, when searching by state, you used to have to hold down the control key, as you do on a lot of sites, and select the states one at a time. And if you ever let up on the control key and hit another state, you would lose everything you had selected. With this site, you'll see in a lot of places, instead of forms like that, you're able to do things like actually select the states that you want one at a time like this without worrying about deselecting previous states. Now, and then you can go back in and actually remove that criteria. Now, many of you may have, if you're paying very close attention, you may have noticed that as I select a state here, that this over here changes on the left. And I'm going to get to that in just a second. But what it basically is all your search criteria is summarized in this little selected search filters box here on the left. So continuing down the screen, you see we have, again, all of the search criteria we had previously and some new additional search criteria that I'm going to cover in a second. But first, I just wanted to familiarize everybody with, just run through real quickly the search form. So what you don't see a lot of out here in the search form that you used to, or the search panels, is you don't see a lot of buttons. You see a lot of buttons out here. We've taken great measures to reduce that, and we simply have one search button up here in the left corner, which shows you, which at any point it always stays stationary. You can see as I scroll down, the search button stays stationary there in the upper left. You can click on that at any time to run your search. You can also click on the button just below that at any time to clear your search criteria. Right below that, and by the way, above that, we've got just some sub-menu items. So search contacts is where we're at right now. And also, if you want to jump over to the specialty directories and search within those, you can do that with this button, and we'll show you those in a second as well. So just below the search and clear search buttons, we've got your recent and saved searches. By the way, we've also had a lot of these helpful little tips throughout the site. Next to nearly everything you'll find these, and they give an explanation of exactly what the field is for, how to use it, etc. Should be very helpful. So for example, over here next to the recent and saved searches, what exactly is recent and saved searches? I can highlight over this little question mark, and it's going to tell you this tool allows you to search, reload saved searches, to save searches, rename saved searches, delete saved searches, etc. What we've found and what we've heard from our users is that people oftentimes like to run the same searches over and over again, make slight modifications to them, save them, come back to them later, things like that. So we built this tool that allows you to run any search. Like for example, right now I've got the directors of marketing, this I added, but directors of marketing in Fortune 1000 companies between rank 1 and 500 with a quality score of 50 or greater. And I've got my results down here, 4,576 results. I can now save this search. I can simply say, call it DIR marketing F1 to 500, or I could just call it F500. And I can say, save that search. And that's going to save that search for me, which I can come back and recall it at any point. Here's a list of previously saved searches. I can go into any of these. This, for example, is a search of lawyers with where the company has a Yelp profile associated with it that we've identified and listed. I can go in and I can rename this search. Let's say I want to call it law firms with Yelp profile. So I can recall that search, run it again by clicking the load button, or I can rename it by clicking here on the rename button. And I can actually even delete it at any time. So I can go in here, I can say, this was the search that I ran previously for C-level at Dodge dealerships. I can click delete on that. It says, are you sure you want to delete this saved search? Yes, I can delete it. That's done. I can come back in here, and if I want to load a particular search, this is professors, I can load that search up into the search window. I can also go to my search history. So even if I don't save a search, the search history tool saves the search for me automatically. So I can go back and pull up load any previous search, or I can essentially convert a search from my search history into a saved search. So I can load a search, and then I say, okay, I load this one. I know this is, search. I'm not even sure what that one is, but if I load it and then I know what it is, I can say I want to save that as a saved search. And when I click that, it will move that search from my search history into my saved search with the name, in this case, XYZ. So a lot of tools for managing your search history and searches you've already run in the past in this area. Now, if there are any questions about this, definitely ask those through the question feature within GoToWebinar tool. Like we have people standing by who are ready to ask those. So please do ask any questions that you have that come up about that. Okay, so below that, we've got the selected search filters. Now, as I showed you, as you go through this page, the search panel, we call it, and you select different search criteria, they will show up here on the left, real time. Okay, so let me just do quickly clear and start over so you can see that. So let's say I want operations, VPs and directors who have at least one social media profile. You can see all the information populating over here on the left. And let's say I want them within the state of Missouri. you can see again all the information, your search criteria all populates over here. Now let's say I get down to the bottom of the page and you say, you know what, I just wanted VPs, I didn't want directors. Instead of scrolling all the way back up to the top of the page, I can simply exit out right there. So I can drop that from my selection criteria right there, which is a lot easier than scrolling back up to the top of the page. Now if we do scroll back up, I can see that directors is no longer selected. It was essentially unselected when I exit out over here on the left-hand side. And then I can run that search, but right before I run it, I want to show you one additional sort of cool tool that we give you the control over, which is the ability to color code all these sections. So we've numbered the sections like 1, title, 2, name and gender, 3, department or profession, 4, devices used, 5, social media links, and then we label those over here as well: title, department or profession, social media links, company information, in this case state, and then other, which is score. So the corresponding sections match up here and here on the left, but you can actually take it one step further with this cool little feature right here, which is the color filters tool. Right now it's off, but if I turn it to on, you'll see that each section is color coded here within the search panel, as well as here on the left. We made that feature so that it could be turned off and on because it does look a little bit like Toys R Us when you turn it on, but it could also, you may find it very useful. So we give you that option to, maybe some of you are annoyed by all the colors and you want it off, and you get the idea between the linking between the selection search filters summary here on the left and the search panel here in the middle, and maybe some of you actually appreciate the color coding and that's helpful for you. So we allowed you to turn that feature off and on when you're working in the search panel. Okay, so a couple new filters that are available within the search panel that I want to show you, and also a cool feature that you may have noticed just now when I ran that search. So one very cool feature is when you run the search, now you notice your results are right here. Well, what happened to the search panel that we had before, right? On the old site, you always had to scroll down past the search panel to see your search results. Well, as you can see here, it says some sections of the search panel are hidden. Click here to show the full search panel. So I can do exactly that. I can expand to see the full search panel if I want to go back in and edit the results, but assuming that mostly, or edit the search criteria, but assuming that mostly what I want to see is the actual search results, it actually collapses the majority of the search panel. It leaves this one section open because it has some things like how you sort the data, quality score, excludes, includes, and some other features. And if you run a search by zip code radius, so within a geographic area, which is section 9, that section will remain visible as well when you're viewing the search results. But in general, we move the search panel out of your way by default once you've run your search. Hopefully that is handy for most of you, and you just want to get right to the search results. Okay, so again, any questions about this search panel here on the left-hand side? Definitely feel free to ask those through the question. Right now we're just returning records in Missouri. Let's say I decide I want to do nationwide. All I have to do is close out that criteria, run the search again, and it's going to give me results with it nationwide. But definitely if you have any questions about that little tool there on the left that summarizes your search criteria, definitely ask those and we'll be happy to answer those as real time as possible. Okay, so now we've expanded our search to the entire United States, not just Missouri. Now we have 21,000 results instead of just a few hundred. A lot of the features now, or you'll see a lot of similarities, but they're definitely improved as compared to the previous site. In the previous site, when you clicked on a individual record to view the details, you would get a pop-up with that information. Now what we do is it's more like an accordion. The information expands, stays right here within the site. What that actually allows you to do is actually view multiple records at the same time on the same screen. So you can expand or collapse individual records as you see fit. Very useful feature. I think it's definitely going to make the site much more efficient. You don't have to pop up each record and then close it to get back to the details. Also, once you do expand a record, we have some additional information in here that you may not have seen on the old site. We've organized this a little bit better as far as company information here, contact information here on the left, social media information on the right for the company, and just below that on the right for the contact. We also have within the company, so this is the details for this individual contact, Adam Weissman, and then within the company itself, we actually have, you can click on this contacts tab and it'll give you all the other contacts within that company. And here's Adam Weissman, the first contact, which is one we were just looking at. But let's say we want to also see the detailed information for the second contact here, Tim Racky, I guess I pronounce that. So I can click on Tim's name, and what you'll see is a new tab opens here on the left. Since it's sort of what we would call a temporary tab, not one of the permanent tabs that's always here, we color-coded a little bit differently, and then we've got all of Tim's information. So you can see we're still under Adam Weissman's record, but through the company we've looked at additional contacts, and now we're looking at Tim Racky's information as well. If I viewed that and I no longer need to see that, I can close that out. And you can actually open multiple contacts in new tabs like that. So I can leave Catherine Conroy open, and I can also open a tab for Daniel Pike, and you can have multiple tabs for different contacts within the company that you can jump to very quickly. So that's a really neat feature. Definitely, we hope everybody agrees that dramatically improves contact and company detail views. We also have improved the comments feature, so you can now, for any given contact right now, so right now we're within Adam Weissman's details, you can leave a comment, and this is really cool. You can leave a public comment, which may occasionally be applicable, but to me what's really useful is you can actually leave a private comment for yourself or your company. So I could go in and say, okay, called, left message, call back later, something like that. Or I could say, if I'm a sales manager, I could say assigned to Joe in, Northwest region, something like that. And I could save that comment, and then anytime I come back from within my account, that comment will always be there. If a public comment essentially is something that would be approved by our site administrators, and then once it's approved, it would be visible to anybody who comes and views that site. So I think this is a really cool new feature that's I think many of you will find very useful. Almost starts to allow you to really sort of not just find data, but really start to sort of manage it as well, much better. And so you can put anything you want there. You can also jump very easily to a map view of that particular company, so their location on a map. Really quickly jump to that. Really handy feature. More tools will be coming, by the way. Keep in mind that you guys are seeing a pre-launch version of the site. So this is just the beginning. Not all the tools that we have planned have been rolled out yet, but definitely plenty to absorb here. Okay, so that's the contact detail view. Again, if you have questions, definitely submit those. We'll get those answered real time. We'd be also more than happy to demo any individual demo the new site with anybody individually who's interested in that, and we can do that offline. We've got a team. Many of you have worked with DJ or Richard or Stella. We can definitely do that at any time for anybody who wants really a more in-depth understanding how they can use the site for themselves. Okay, so I'm going to close out the contact details area. Again, if you have any questions, please do submit those. Let's look in general at the search results overall. First, we made it very easy to select all contacts within a page, all records that return from your results. And once you have one or more records selected, I can just select a few here if I'd like. I can go up here, and these are some features that existed on the previous on the beta version of the site, but we feel that we've really refined, and they're much more useful and much more intuitive. So I can select a handful of records. I can click Target Selected. Those records will be added to my target contact page or file. And if any of you are new or have been using LeadFerret but haven't used the target contact area, which we're going to get into in a second, you'll know that, or you might not know that a target contact area is sort of like a shopping cart. You're setting records aside, you can look at them, but you haven't actually used points to download them yet to a spreadsheet. So I've added those to my target contact file. Again, we'll jump over to the target contact page and check out all the new features there. Very soon there's a lot of new features there that are very useful as well. But what I did is I went ahead and targeted these first records. I checked the first 4, hit target contacts, and you'll see in this first column here it says target. And they're all now red dots as opposed to these gray sort of looking targets, which means that record is not targeted. So you can quickly see which records are and are not targeted. I can check a few more records. Just for those of you who didn't see the first time, now watch this column here on the right. As I click Target Selected, those are instantly all added to my target contact list, which we'll look at again in a second. Now, a lot of people want to go through LeadFerret and sort of custom build lists of contacts to download. And so what we do is we allow you to do sort of things in 3 different stages, if you will. You can add a contact to your target contact list, and that's sort of like putting it in your shopping cart. And you haven't actually purchased it yet with points to be able to download it, but it's there, it's set aside, you can look at it. And you can see all the details like we just were in the details view. The next thing you can do is you can add a contact to your target contact list without actually downloading it right at that moment. So again, the reason we do this is a lot of people want to go through the site and pick and choose a handful of records that they later want to download to a spreadsheet. But at that moment, they don't want to download one spreadsheet with one record in each one for every single record that they find. So that's the Add to CSV feature that we have here, which allows you to add individual records to CSV. And it shows you which ones you have already added to CSV or downloaded. So I can go in and find an individual record that's currently gray. The purple ones are the ones that I have already added to CSV or downloaded. I can find one that's gray, and I can click on it, and it says you're about to download one record. This will subtract 1 point from your contacts. Are you sure you want to do that? And I could say yes, and that will add it to a CSV file, which I can download later. Also, if I do really just want to get one record at a time, and typically when people want to do this, they want to add it to their address book, I can actually download the V card for that record. So let's say I want to take the first record here, and it says, would you like to spend 1 point to download this record to V card? I can say yes. I think that's going to try to like pop up Outlook or something like that to download it to V card, but it will actually download that record to V card for me, and that uses 1 point. So this is much more intuitive, easy to manage the downloading of contacts, the targeting of contacts, etc. Here. Can everybody hear me okay? see, I just actually got a little pop-up warning from GoToWebinar saying that my audio quality may not be perfect, but it looks like everybody can hear me okay. All right, so I'm just going to go ahead and continue. Yeah, I hear people are saying good. Also, as I clicked on a couple of those links and opened them in a new tab when we were looking at the details, but that was the Adam Weissman record, but of course you can link out to their Facebook, LinkedIn profile, and anything else that's available. Okay, so the next thing I want to jump to, let me just do some cleanup here, is the target contact page that we had discussed. So let me load that up, and we're going to look at your target contact page and improvements that we've made there. So this is the target contacts page. You go up to dashboard, target contacts, or once you click on dashboard, again, just like with the search page, you've got all of your sort of sub-menu items here on the left. Let's start with the target contacts page. Previously, this just listed all the contacts that you had targeted. You could view a little bit of details on them, but not much beyond that. The target contacts page now just has, I have 156,000 target contacts. You probably have less, but I do a lot of demoing and stuff, so I'm always adding stuff to this. I probably should delete some of these out. Maybe we'll do that as part of today's exercise. But you can see here on your search filter on the left that it says my targets is actually part of my criteria, naturally, because I'm actually on my target contact page. So what this is it's just like the search page. In fact, I can click here and expand. The whole search panel is now accessible to me, but it's only going to search within my target contacts. As you can see, this selection is actually checked by default. So I can now run any search within my target contacts. So I can start by saying, okay, I'm interested in the healthcare industry. Let me dump all contacts within healthcare into my target contact list, and then I can go in and search by geography. I can search by title. I can take stuff out. I can add new companies in. So this is sort of your holding tank of contacts, really an excellent way to manage your prospects that you want to target, eventually download to a spreadsheet, things like that. So all the same features are here. You can have saved searches that are just target contacts. Searches you run within here will show up within your search history. Everything here for you to manage your target contacts just like you would any search results. The only difference is you can literally pick and choose record by record what's included in this area and what is not included. Also, back on the original search page, I wanted to actually show you some parallels between the target contact page and the original search page. But you'll notice here that it says only include, so this is part of my search criteria, only include target contacts. When I jump to this page, again, my target contacts page, this is checked by default, and I actually can't uncheck it. It's checked by default, and that's what visually shows you that that's what it's doing, is including only target contacts. But actually, on the original search page, you can actually also run a search where you only target your you only search within your target contacts, and you'll see that shows up here. So you can actually do that right from the original search page as well. You can also target contacts, only contacts that you've already downloaded, and we're going to get more into downloading and managing your downloaded contacts in just a second. But you can do all this from the main search panel, and as well as contacts you've already transferred to Sales Nexus. I'm sure many of you are Sales Nexus users, and many of you have been transferring records from LeadFerret to Sales Nexus for quite some time now. But that's something you can do as well, is search just within records you've already transferred to Sales Nexus. Okay, so let's jump back to the target contacts page. Again, you can expand the search panel, filter the criteria further within the target contact page. Within your target contact results, again, I have 156,000. You can also immediately and directly remove records from your target contact page, and the next time you come back to this page, these records will no longer be here. I could select all 50 records on this page and say untarget selected. Again, little helpful tips next to each box as to each button set as to what it does. So I've now untargeted 100 records. So if I come back to my target contacts page, I would expect there to be like 156,696 instead of 796 target contacts on this page. And I'm going to go ahead and reload that just so you can see that and how that works. Okay. I also just, so Stella just let me know that she has posted a poll for everybody to see. How long have you been using LeadFerret? And what I see, and I think Stella was mentioning this is the first time we're actually running a poll during a webinar. So what I actually see is that, and I don't think she was aware of this, but the poll actually makes it so nobody can see my screen. You only see the poll now until you complete it. So I think maybe what we want to do, Stella, is close that, and we'll open it right at the end of the webinar and get people to answer it. Okay, so now we're back live. We agreed that we'll repost the poll towards the end of the webinar, get a little bit of feedback from you guys. Okay, so we're looking at the, again, the target contact details. We refresh this, and a bunch of the contacts that we had selected, it wasn't 100, actually, it was 50. So instead of going down to 696, it went down to 746. So you can see we can move records very easily in and out of our target contact list, just like moving, items in and out of a shopping cart. But again, at this point, we haven't actually used any points to download these. So now let's use some points to actually download these. And again, back to talking about parallels between the search page and the target contact page. Of course, not only do they look very similar, one is just essentially your hand-selected subset of the other, but you can actually, when you run a search here, let me just load one of my saved searches. When you run a search on the target, on the search page, you can do a lot of the same things that you can on your target contact page as well, like downloading selected records. So let's say that there's a handful of records here that I like. I want to download them. You'll notice that as I check, let me just go back a second. As I check these boxes, the buttons that are available to me once I've selected one or more boxes light up in green. So I'm going to say go ahead and download selected. It says you're about to download 8 records, of which 7 have already been downloaded. This will subtract 1 point because only one of them is new. I'll say OK. Go ahead and download that. Your records downloaded successfully. For those of you who haven't seen what it looks like when you actually download records, let me just share that with you real quick. It's really cool. You get lots of data, first name, last name, title, all the data that you see on the site, you get there, quality score, LinkedIn profiles, Facebook profiles, Twitter profiles when available, company, Facebook, Yelp, Foursquare, TripAdvisor, tons of information you get in spreadsheet in seconds when you run a download like that. So extremely handy, extremely easy to use. So that was just a handful that I selected download. Now, let's say I could actually check the whole page and download those. Usually you want to download in slightly larger quantities. Oftentimes you want to download hundreds or thousands of records. So let's say I actually want to download the first 500 records here. So I type that into where it says download first, and then I type in 500, and then I can click this, and it will actually download the first 500 records in my target contact list. Again, only charging me a point for each one that I haven't previously downloaded, and that's despite the fact there are only 50 on the first page. So really handy feature. That feature, by the way, is only available for our premium subscribers. So you definitely, if you haven't tried out premium service yet, I definitely recommend you check that out, and features like that will be available to you. Okay, I can also select records here and transfer them to Sales Nexus, which is a really cool feature. I'm going to let's see if I want to. I can also, again, if I'm a premium subscriber, I could say I want to transfer the first 553 records to Sales Nexus. I can click on this and will do that. And that interface, is something we've made significant improvements upon as well. So I'm going to go ahead and show you that real quick as well. So I selected the 50 records on that page to transfer. If you don't have Sales Nexus, you might be a little bit lost here as to what this is, but I'm just going to show you, for those of you who do or who might be interested, I'm going to show that to you real quick. I just need to grab my password real quick for my Sales Nexus account. And then I'll let that run essentially in the background. But basically, so what it's doing is taking these 50 accounts. The Sales Nexus, for those of you who don't know, is a CRM and email marketing solution that we have a partnership with. You can transfer records directly over. Here, this is on the left is the tool for transferring. On the right is a summary of my previous transfers. Now, I've actually used all my transfer credits for the month. If you have a Sales Nexus account, you get 500 free transfers a month, and then you can use points to make additional transfers. So that's what I'm going to actually do. It says, would you like to use 25 points to transfer 50 records? So while it takes 1 point to download a record, you can actually, it only takes half a point to transfer records, or you can transfer 2 records with 1 point. So I'm going to say, yes, I'd like to use 25 points towards my transfer. I've got my password here. Let me drop that in, and I'm going to start the transfer process. It takes a little bit of time because it's actually checking, as you can see here, current contact record by record to transfer those. So I just want you guys to see how that works, and that it's a new feature and we've dramatically improved it. It looks like all those records had actually already been transferred, but I'm going to go ahead now and jump over to I'm going to jump back to the search page and show you a couple things that I forgot to show you there. Again, a lot of parallels between different pages because we have this this universal search panel that you can use on any subset of records. So here I've run a search where I'm looking for lawyers with the other thing, this was the save search that I ran just a second ago, where the company has a Yelp profile. And what I want to do now with this search, let's say that this is a search that I am particularly interested in and I know other people might be interested in, or I just want to share the search. Maybe it's some sort of really cool search that I like. What we actually have done here, if you look over in this right corner, you'll see where it says share this search. So first, I want you to know that every time you run a search, the URL up here is a unique code is generated for you, and you can actually just copy and paste that and share it with anybody, or you can utilize any of these tools that we've created for you where you can share this search either through email by clicking on this and then my email client will pop up, or through, I can do a share on LinkedIn, Google+, Twitter. Let me just show you what happens, for example, so I click on this and it actually opens up a window right in. I'm now on Twitter, but it's actually taken the URL, which matches this, for my search that I just ran, and I could say something like, check out this really cool search of lawyers with Yelp profiles. You might want to say on LeadFerret. Something like that. So it actually allows you to share this. Now, Twitter obviously is a very public way to broadcast information, and I could now sign in and tweet that message. And if somebody clicks on this link, they're going to be brought back to this exact search with these exact 340 records that were returned from this search result. So a really cool way to search it. Again, Twitter is a very public way to share some information like that. If it's a colleague or a partner or a client you're working with, you may want to just email it to them, obviously. But you do have the options to broadcast that through social media. We certainly appreciate that, and I'm sure at some point we'll be figuring out a way to reward people who do that. Okay, so that's a really cool feature that you'll see on the search results page. Okay, so jumping back to our Sales Nexus transfer, so I was making a transfer. It has been completed. I'm going to click Continue. And what's really cool is it actually shows me, this is actually a report that shows me all the records that I just transferred, or in this case attempted to transfer. They were all duplicates, so none of them actually transferred for me because I had already transferred them previously. But I can actually see everything that I just transferred, or again attempted to transfer over to Sales Nexus. Really cool feature. Okay, and then another thing you can do, obviously I showed you what it looks like when you download records to a spreadsheet. And previously we had a window, we had this page where we allowed you to see, you know, records that you had, all the records you'd ever paid to download, and you could download all of those. All the records you had paid to download and had already previously downloaded, and you could download those with one click of the button. And records that you've paid to download but have not actually yet downloaded, that's the adding to CSV function that we were talking about before, or even downloading the V-card, you haven't actually downloaded the spreadsheet yet. So I have 142 records kind of sitting there that I've added to a spreadsheet, but I haven't actually downloaded that spreadsheet yet. So this page still exists. You get there by simply going to Dashboard, Download Your Spreadsheets. And this page is still very useful and exists, and it's here. It'll always be here. But we now have a really cool feature that allows you to more granularly manage your downloads. A lot of times people think of downloads as lists. Okay, I've got a marketing list for campaign X. I've got a marketing list for campaign Y. I've got a sales list that I'm giving to my sales team to dial off of, things like that. And that's what this page is really going to help you with. So this is under Dashboard, Download Reports. And what this does is it actually lists all the downloads you've ever made. It lists the date and time or name if you've named it, which I'll show you in a second how we're going to do that. And then it lists the number of records that you downloaded. And then there's this small icon here which actually allows you to re-download those records. So at any time you can re-download records that you've downloaded in the past, just specific lists. So a really handy tool. I also can click just on the name of the list, and it will actually show me which records were in that list. Very useful. This, I think, is probably one of the areas where we've made most significant improvements from the old site to the new site, is the managing of those downloads. And that was all based on user feedback. They simply said, most of the stuff we do is campaign-based. We need to be able to manage lists, name lists, re-download lists, segregate lists from one another, etc. So that's what we've built in here, is the ability to do that. Okay, so let's take this list and let's say that I want to actually save it. So, or to actually name the list, instead of just having it show up as a date and a time that I downloaded, I can actually name it. I can call it 3 contact test. And I can save that. And it says this CSV, which is short for spreadsheet, will be labeled as 3 contact tests. And I can say, okay, great. Now on my list, it's called 3 contact tests. This list might be, this next list here, which is 1,010 records, might be, you know, sales, prospects, Southwest. And I can save it as such. Here, it says, okay, great, you've changed that label. The label will change here in just a second, and we'll be able to actually see, we'll actually be able to load to see that list, this list of downloads labeled by name. Now, again, I can also click on any one of them and re-download the list to a spreadsheet. So I clicked on the one with 6 records there. I re-download that. I can now see those in a list here. And I never, since I've already used points to purchase them, I never pay again to download them. So very useful. You can page through numerous pages, very useful feature. Also, for those of you who are Sales Nexus users, we have pretty much the same thing for Sales Nexus transfers. Again, you can actually view the records that were transferred. You can name the transfer. You can page through if you have a lot of transfers that you've made. You can go through and really review all of those. So for those of you who are Sales Nexus users, that's a really useful tool as well. Okay, so a lot of information, a lot of new stuff. There's a lot more actually, but just wanted to give you kind of a real quick overview of a lot of the new stuff on the site, how it works. I know I was talking really fast, trying to cover a lot of information. So I understand if some of you need a little bit more detailed follow-up. We're more than happy to do that. What I want to, of course, do is encourage all of you to check out the Sales Nexus, or the LeadFerret premium offer. Accounts start as low as $20 a month, $20, $40, or $60 a month. It's a subscription that you can cancel, upgrade, or downgrade at any time. No long-term contract. What that does is it puts points directly into your account, which you can use to download data to spreadsheets, as you saw me do today. Many of you are sure already familiar with it. Many of you, I'm sure, are already premium users. But if you do sign up today for a premium account and you attended this webinar, we'll give you double points in the first month. So what does that mean? If you want to try LeadFerret for $20, you can, typically you would get 200 points a month, which allows you to download 200 records. So you're paying about 10 cents a record, extremely cheap for exceptional data. But if you sign up for an account today and you did attend the webinar, you'll actually get 400 points. So you're actually only paying 5 cents a month, or 5 cents a record for the first month, and then each subsequent month, if you decide to continue your account, you'll get 200 points. At $40 a month, you get 500 points, so it's a little lower, even lower cost per record. And then at $60 a month, you get 800 points, which is 800 downloads. So for literally, a very low cost, under $100 a month, you can get a lot of leads on a monthly basis. And again, we'll give you double points if you attended today's webinar. Also, I told you all, many of you may have been paying attention during the webinar, and you saw the URL that we were at, where you could actually see version 1 of the site. It is live right now. You can use it. We haven't made it available to everybody, but you're the first group of people that we are making it available to. So I want you to start playing around with it. Give us some feedback. By the way, if you are already a premium subscriber and you give us some feedback on today's webinar and the new version of the site, we'll actually go ahead and double your points for the next month as well at no additional cost. So you see the URL there, which we will email out to all of you. It's leadferret.com/v1/search. We definitely want your feedback. We're going to go ahead and if you have any questions, submit them now. We'll definitely follow up with everybody afterwards to make sure all questions are answered. But I also want to go ahead and launch the poll now. This is our social media information. Definitely follow us. We'll keep you abreast of what's going on. But we're going to go ahead and launch a quick poll right now, if you don't mind, just telling us a little bit about what your background relative to LeadFerret is. In other words, have you been using it for a long time, or are you a new user, etc.? That would be great. So I think everybody should see the poll now. If you can confirm that, then I'm going to keep that up until everybody's had a chance to participate in that poll. We really appreciate your feedback. And if there are any questions, please do let us know. We're here to help you get access to the data that you need in order to be as successful as possible in your sales, marketing, recruiting, business development position, whatever it is that you do that you need business data for. We're here to help you acquire the data you need. And definitely call in, shoot us an email. All of the contact information is available in numerous places on the website, but definitely let us know if you have any questions. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and stop talking, but I'm going to leave the poll up for a few more minutes for those of you who wish to participate in that. And again, thank you all for attending. Very large audience today, and we really appreciate everybody's excitement about the pre-launch of the new LeadFerret site. Thank you.